What's up, my beautiful peeps? Welcome back to Liz Talks Vibes. I hope you guys are feeling great. I hope you guys are ready for these positive and good vibes and to start living yourself and start taking care of yourself. You guys know I'm all about self-love and self-care, and I literally talk about that in every single episode because it's really important. I love sharing how self-love saved me, how it keeps saving me, how it keeps me at peace, and how it keeps me making myself happy and just living life and having a positive perspective on life and just having a positive perspective on things, having a positive mindset. Today I'm going to talk about having a positive perspective on life. And it honestly starts with you. When you start loving yourself, you're full of love. Love is already within you, but you're just not letting it out. And your perspective on life changes when you change your perspective on yourself. If you have a negative perspective towards yourself and you just have all these negative feelings and you don't love yourself, then you don't love life. You have this negative perspective towards life. You just have these negative thoughts about life, these negative feelings. You always feel like something negative is going to happen to you, something bad. You're just always expecting the worst instead of expecting great positive things. You have such great qualities. You're a beautiful soul, but you see the negative in you. Instead of seeing the beauty in you, you see all the negative, and that's not good, because then you're going to see all the negative in life. You're just going to see all the negative in everything instead of seeing the positive. There's so many factors that go into why you have this certain perspective on life, why you have this certain perspective towards yourself. It can be your past, your present, it can be beliefs, your daily habits, literally everything. There's so many things that go into it. Your past doesn't define you. It has helped you become who you are now. I'm not proud of my past, and it doesn't define me. It's not who I am now. It helped me become the person that I am today. It helped me learn a lot, and it helped me change my perspective on life, my perspective towards me, but that's not who I am. That party animal that I used to be, that's not me. She's not within me anymore. I let her go for good reasons. I let her go in order to change, in order to level up, in order to grow. Your past is not the present. I didn't have the greatest childhood, right? It was shitty. And because it was shitty, I thought, well, since my childhood is shitty, my whole life is going to be shitty. I had this negative perspective on life, especially because I had this negative perspective towards myself. And you don't think about it like that when you're younger. You're just a child and you don't think about these things. Nobody tells us about these things, about how you're supposed to love yourself and how you're supposed to take care of yourself, especially if there's nobody there taking care of you. I really didn't have a grown-up taking care of me, like looking after me, and I am the oldest sibling, so I grew up pretty quickly. I really had to take care of myself. I had to take care of the younger siblings too, and it's tough for the oldest child. We get into this mentality where we put them first. It's like kind of like fuck us, and we put them first because we have to be the good role model. We have to give the good examples. We have to be good so they can see that we're doing good and them wanting to do good. But it's like, well, who are we looking up to? Who's taking care of us if we're taking care of them? Nobody. And I know that shit drained me a lot. And it also really led me towards having this resentment and this anger. I didn't feel appreciated. And I kind of grew up into this mentality where, okay, well, I have to put others first. And that was my perspective. I didn't see the positivity within me. Like, I always thought, okay, well, I'm here to take care of them. That's kind of how I just saw my life. I didn't see anything positive. I didn't really put me first. I didn't see what I could do. I didn't know what I was capable of. I didn't have goals. It was just it all kind of went away. Let's not get into the childhood, but it wasn't a good childhood. Honestly, it wasn't like a childhood at all. I saw everything so negative. The childhood was bad. It really led to me having negative feelings and anger, resentment, all that. So what did I do? I escaped through substances. And that's the thing where it could lead you one way or the other. Some people, at a really young age, they're just like fuck this. They don't choose that. They see the positive. But I saw the negative. I see the positive now, but I used to see the negative. That leads nowhere good. But now, since I see the positive in all of it, and I learned from it, and it really helped build this motivation and inspiration where I want to do better. Why? Because I want a better life. Because I deserve it. I deserve it, and I believe in me, and that's just how I see, that's my perspective on life now. Just because I had a shitty past doesn't mean I'm going to have a shitty future. And it's what I do now. I wasn't doing great things then in order to have great positive outcomes, but since I'm doing great now and I'm doing positive things, I'm taking care of me, I'm practicing self-love and self-care, I know I'm going to have a positive future. And I'm speaking from the experience of not having a good childhood. So if you did have a good childhood, I mean, great for you. But even those with great childhoods, everybody takes things differently. Everybody goes through different things. It's really you that knows what you go through. What was good for you is probably bad for somebody else. It's just different for everybody. And mine was not the greatest. At a very young age, what did I do? I started drinking alcohol, and I used that as an escape mechanism because I had built all these negative feelings and this negative perspective on life where it's like, well, fuck it, like, I might as well just escape and drink my life away, and that's not good, especially at a really young age, you guys. It worsens your mentality and it puts you in a really dark place, and it doesn't help at all. You just build this more negative perspective towards life and towards yourself. It was till recently where I really changed my perspective, where I changed my ways. I stopped drinking. It's about to be 3 years ago, barely 3 years ago. Even when you're an adult, you can still be living with this negative perspective on life because of your past, and you're still holding on to it. And that was my issue, where I was still holding on to it. I was holding on to this resentment, to all this hate, honestly, in a way, blaming others. And I just had to take accountability because, I was a child, like, I can't do much, but I still decided to do negative things. I decided to go towards the wrong path. And I finally saw the light and I decided to go the positive way. And that's honestly what counts. Okay, you honestly have to let everything go. You have to let it go and just accept the fact that you went through that. That's your past. Like, what can you do about it? Nothing. What you can do now is start doing better so you have a better future. Just because you had a bad past doesn't mean you're going to have a horrible future, a horrible life ahead of you. If you start doing better, you're going to get better outcomes. And people use it as an excuse. That was my excuse for escaping, for drinking, where I was like, well, my life is shitty. I had a shitty past. Like, that's why I'm drinking, But that's not how you should see things, and that's not how you should think. And you really have to take accountability. Stop blaming others. Stop blaming the substance. Stop blaming your past. It's you. Those are your reactions. That was my reaction to all of the shitty things that were happening to me. I would use this escape mechanism, and it doesn't fix anything. It doesn't make the past go away. It doesn't make things any better. You went through horrible shit. You have all this trauma because of all these horrible experiences that happened. But you still have to learn to let it go. You go through these horrible things and you have this trauma inside of you, and it really does suck, but that doesn't mean that your life has to suck. That doesn't mean that your future has to suck. It can get better. You just have to let go. You shouldn't let that dictate your life and let that control your life. Let that control your feelings. Let that control your mindset. Let that prevent you from living a happy and peaceful life. You really have to learn to forgive. Forgive yourself and even forgive others, because that way you literally take control of your life. You don't let them control you, because you're still letting them control you. You're still attached to that event, to that person, whatever it is that happened. And you just literally want to lift that weight off your shoulders. You want to let go of that energy, because that energy is consuming you. That's what you have, this negative perspective. Honestly, you're just going to keep going through shit. Life isn't easy, and that's why you need to start practicing positivity, seeing things in a positive way, and just knowing that everything is going to work out. I'm not saying like don't feel a little fear, don't feel scared because of something, or sad or anger. Like, yeah, feel it, but don't let that consume you. You just have to go through it. You have to grow through it. Things happen to you for a reason, for you to learn something, for you to gain strength, to gain wisdom, to gain courage, whatever it is. You have to see the positive in everything, because it's not easy. Life is not easy. It's a part of life, Horrible shit happens, great things happen, and you just have to learn to move on. Even with great things, you might think this is the greatest thing that has happened to you, but there might be something even greater that happens to you. You know, so you just have to learn to let go, to literally just live in the present moment and appreciate everything. Stuff is just going to continue to happen, and you can't prevent that. You don't have control of what happens to you. You have control of how you're going to react to things. Are you going to react in a negative way, or are you going to react in a positive way? Hopefully you choose to react in a positive way instead of a negative way, because honestly, reacting in a negative way, it takes more time and it takes more effort and it takes lots of energy, because it's like you plan to do something negative. And with positive, it's not really acting on anything, you're just letting it be. That's just being positive and thinking like, this happened, all right. Like, if you really can't do nothing about it, you can't do nothing about it. Just let it be. Let it be. And you know, with your perspective towards yourself, it is your past too. You know, the things you went through. If you grew up with people not supporting you, growing up with people that were toxic and negative, but that changes now. Start with saying positive affirmations. How you talk to yourself, what you think about yourself, that has a lot to do with your perspective on yourself. Because if you don't think positively about yourself and you're not nice to yourself, that means like you don't care about yourself. That means you don't love yourself. And that honestly changes your whole mindset when you start practicing self-love and self-care and saying positive affirmations, journaling, meditating. It brings this peace and it brings this clarity, and it just makes you think positive. These are positive acts. They're positive habits that if you're consistent with, they're just going to become a regular habit, a daily thing that you're going to practice. It really changes your perspective on life because it starts with you. It just shines outwards. You know what I'm saying? You have this positive perspective towards you, and it just shines outwards. It's this frequency. You just start vibrating at a high frequency, and you start attracting other things that are also vibrating at a high frequency. You're full of light, you're full of love, you're full of just positivity. Ask yourself if your current habits are positive or if they're negative. And if they're positive, great, you know, keep doing it. Or maybe there's other things that you can do as well. You might be positive in a certain area, but might need to start working on another area, if that makes sense, you know? But if you are negative, then it's time to switch that up. Take accountability and take action. Literally now. Start changing them. That's what you have to do first. Take accountability. Take accountability. Like, your life is the way it is right now because of you. And when you realize that, you're just like, oh shit. Like, it's me. I'm causing this, and I can literally change this. I can change the narrative. I can change my life. I can change me. And it just gives you this feeling of control, dude, where you want to do better. I know that's literally what happened to me. And because, dude, your mindset shifts. You're blaming everything else. And that's where your mindset is in this thing where it's like, okay, well, I can't do nothing about it. Like, this is my life. Because you're giving others control. But once you're like, this is me. Like, this is my fault. Your mindset is like, well, this is your fault. You did this. You can change it. And you're just like, whoa. Dude, honestly, I'd recommend to stop using the substances, any substances that you're using to escape, to not face yourself, to not face your reality. It's just going to make your life even worse. If you already have a negative perspective, dude, it's just you're just going to see everything dark. Everything's black. Like, there's no glow. It's just so dark. You're full of darkness, and you just see darkness all around you. You're going to see the negative in everything, and you're going to always expect the worst. I know that because I went through that. I used substances, and it didn't help at all. It didn't make anything better. It literally just worsened everything. A lot of people think they need, let's say, alcohol to have fun. And you guys, like, it's just so overrated. Like, it's so overhyped. It's advertised as something that's going to make you have fun. It's not going to make you have fun. And that's a thing where, like, they show you this side, and it's not, I don't want to say it's a positive side, because it's not a fun side. Drinking alcohol is not fun. Using any other substances, getting high, smoking weed, all of that is not fun. They don't tell you about the side effects. They don't tell you about the long-term side effects. They don't tell you how it worsens your health, your mental health. They don't tell you about that. They don't tell you about how it starts consuming you instead of you consuming the alcohol, the weed, whatever substance it is that you're consuming. That starts consuming you. It consumes all of you, consumes your soul. It literally sucks all the positivity out of you, all the light, all that glow. It starts controlling you, starts controlling your life. You start making choices and everything just based off, like, it's not you anymore. It's a whole nother spirit taking over your body. I wouldn't want any of you guys to go through that, because it's hard to get out of it. It really is. I was able to get out. You can't get out. You can get out of that dark place. You can quit using any substance, but it's tough. And especially if you're really deep in it, it's tough. I'm not gonna lie. And I did it myself. It's really you and only you who can get yourself out of there. It's you that has to help out yourself before you allow somebody else to come in and help you. You have to be willing to help out yourself. I was confused and lost when I started quitting each substance, and I didn't quit them all at once. It was one, and then some time went by, and then another one, and then another one. It was just really motivating and inspiring because I said, well, if I can quit one, I can quit another one. You know, I saw the progress and I saw how better I felt, and I saw my mentality change. I saw my perspective changing towards myself and towards life, because you guys, hate's a really strong word, but I really hated myself. I didn't love anything about me. I didn't love anything about my life. And once I stopped giving each substance control, other people control over me, it literally changed for me. Everything changed. I literally felt so much lighter because I felt so tense and so full of negativity and this energy. I had this weight on my shoulder. You literally feel it. The energy on your shoulders, just that negative energy. And when you let it go, dude, it feels so good. It's so much more peaceful and just happier because it's just you. You know, it's your positive energy. And I'm just trying to maintain that now. All of that has been very inspiring. The past is inspiring. Everything that I've been through, it doesn't define me, and it doesn't define you. Your past does not define you. What are you going to do with it? You had a shitty past. Okay, what are you going to do with it? Keep living thinking that you're just going to live a shitty life for the rest of your life? Or are you going to use that as motivation, as inspiration? It literally just teaches you a lot. And especially when you reflect. When I reflect, I'm like, I see things so differently. It builds strength too, because I'm like, dude, I went through this. I can go through anything. I used to say my greatest achievement was graduating college, getting my bachelor's and all that. But once I went sober, I'm like, dude, this is my greatest achievement so far. Because that was literally a whole life achievement, internal achievement. You got your bachelor's, okay. My thoughts about school are so different now. That's a whole nother episode. My internal issues, that's something real. Your internal issues, that battle that you're fighting with yourself, those demons inside of you, that shit's real. Dude, winning that war was honestly one of my greatest achievements so far. So your life is not over. Just because you didn't have the greatest past doesn't mean you're going to have a horrible future. Start now. It starts with what you're doing now, with how you're thinking now. Your perspective on yourself, your perspective on life will change once you change your perspective of yourself. So start with you. Focus on you, on your feelings. How are you feeling right now? What are your current habits? What do you say to yourself? Are you always judging yourself when you get in front of the mirror? Are you judging yourself? Are you looking at all the negative things? Start pointing out all the positive things. Forget about the negative. On your mirror, write down every single positive thing about yourself and just repeat that every time you get in front of the mirror, or whenever you can. Your past does not define you. It does help shape who you are, but it does not define you. Use it as inspiration, as motivation. I really appreciate you guys. I love you guys, and I thank you so much for watching this episode or listening to it if you're listening to it. Make sure to follow The Vibes on TikTok, on Instagram, and on Threads, you guys. I love being on Threads. I love threading. It's so cool. So follow me on there as well, and make sure to check out my mugs. If you don't love yourself, you can't love nobody else. It's all positivity. I love this mug. It's my favorite mug. It's just good vibe. You see it and you say it, you repeat it, and you start thinking positively, and you're like, well, what can I do today to start loving myself? What can I do today to show love to me? So speak good vibes to yourself and speak good vibes to others. Peace.